Hello, welcome, Cabbage here. So today let's have a look at the new impossible monster of Yamato Takeru 0, and we'll look at his stats first. He is a speed type, so of course his speed is the highest thing, and that is well over 400, it's almost 500. So that means he's going to get a lot of movement around the screen, and then get more hits on enemies, and then also more bump combos out, which is one of the main tasks for a Pierce monster. If we look at his other stats though, we see that his HP is very low, and that's sort of in keeping with his, his normal form. And then his attack is actually decent for a speed type, well over 20,000, about 22. And then he has a gauge on top of that, so that's pretty good. Next we'll look at his skill set. And then he's a little bit similar to Izanami Zero in that he has the same null abilities, and then with a double slayer on top of that. And then, yeah, the double null, it's the same as before, the null warp with a null damage wall on the gauge. And then he has a samurai slayer passive in him, so that will go into his bump combo and stuff. And then he has a mech slayer on the gauge. And yeah, not a whole lot of samurais out there. There are a few bosses, but mechs are all over the place, so that's a pretty valuable slayer. Next we'll look at his strike shot, and then this is the same as Dark Muramasa, where he shoots out wave after wave, and it acts like a laser, but it doesn't have the limitation of stopping at laser barriers. So this is actually more versatile than the laser. So it's very easy to use, you can use it anywhere, and yeah, it'll go through anything. And then finally, he has the Dimensional Blades bump combo. This is a new bump combo. It's like the Slice and Dice, but as we see here, the damage per attack is higher. The Slice and Dice is a little over 2,000. The difference between this and the Slice and Dice, though, is that the Slice and Dice hits more often. But the Dimensional Blades, yeah, hits less often, but does more damage per attack. I haven't checked to see if it evens out in the end, but that is something to keep in mind. And then if we look at the description, slices weaken foes with razor-sharp blades. What this does is that the blades, they cross dimensions, I guess it is, and then it attacks the monster that you're fighting with the lowest number of hit points. And this is anywhere on the screen. So it will travel to wherever the enemy with the lowest hit points is. And then this is not the kind of the lowest percentage of hit points, it's the lowest total number of hit points. So this is pretty great for like scorpions that have like maybe 30 hit points. This bump combo will always go to that scorpion because it has the lowest hit points. And it'll also never go towards shields or drones, or very rarely it'll go towards shields or drones, because they usually have lots and lots of hit points, and then they are never kind of damaged unless you are using drone breakers or shield breakers, in which case they'll just take them out anyway. So in that way, this bump combo will almost never be wasted on drones or shields, so that's another positive. And then overall, this character, it's so-so. I kind of think about this character pretty similarly to Izanami Zero, and I am not impressed that they have the exact same null abilities. That kind of really lowers their lowers the need for you to make a max luck of the impossible monsters, which won't be an issue for most people, but for people that are interested, I would say that making a max luck of this guy is kind of low priority, especially if you already have the max luck of the regular Yamato Takeru. But having a 1 luck of him is, there's a lot of advantages to that. There are not very many characters, either Pierce or Bounce, that have... Oh, I'm sorry. There are not a lot of Pierce characters that are Hatcher or Drop that have the double null of null warp and null damage wall. So that makes him very unique and very versatile. He can go to a lot of different missions. And so I think he's a very versatile character. And then his bump combo especially makes him a fun character. but I wouldn't call him essential. And then as for quests that he would be good for, he, as a max luck, would be terrific for Ashura. It's a fire element quest where you need damage walls, null damage wall. And then he has Mech Slayer, which will work on the boss and then a few of the enemies in there. So he can be really good in there. But most people, they're going to finish the max luck of Ashura before they finish the max luck of Yamato Takeru 0. So that kind of doesn't enter into that equation. But he could be useful if you were working on making the max luck of Ashura, and you didn't have a lot of hatcher monsters, good hatcher monsters. You could use your max luck like Okita or Louis XIII, and then use Yamato Takeru 0 as your kind of helper. He could be pretty good for that. Okay, so I think that'll do it for my talk about him, and then we'll go ahead and take him to a mission. And then let's take him to Mika, who is a fire element quest with warps, and then some scorpions. There are no damage walls, so we won't see that in action. But yeah, I think we'll get a good sense of how he plays here. So here we'll just go ahead and hit the bump combos, and then we saw that the first dimensional blades went towards the scorpion at the top, so that's very useful. But again, not as many hits as the standard slice and dice, so it'll take a couple more hits to take out the scorpion. But yeah, very high speed. We see how far he goes there. Okay, more dimensional blades there. And then I should say that the dimensional blades, if you get like, you know, part way through the number of hits, and then you take down the guy, the remaining hits will, you know, move over to another character, the next character with the lowest HP. So again, there's no wasted hits. So it's a very efficient bump combo. Okay, excellent speed there. Yeah, he looks pretty cool, but... Yeah, I remember when Izanami 0 was announced, and then I'm even less excited about her because she's a bounce as well as being a null gravity barrier, null warp, same as the regular Izanami. But then I was very happy to hear when Kushinada 0 was announced, because she's totally different from the regular version. So I think she's very worth making the max luck of. Izanami 0 and Yamato Takeru 0, I would say, not so much. So yeah, we got through this part pretty quickly, thanks in part to Izumo getting the hit in on the weak point. And then as far as Kirara as a character, now I would say she's so-so. One version of her has no warp, the other version has no gravity barrier. But later on, she will pick up null block on both of her versions. And there will be some places where that will be useful, but chances are that there will be even more places in the future that will be very useful. So, if you had nothing else to do, you could make the max luck of Kirara in anticipation of that. But yeah, we're not going to get that update for a little bit, so no rush there. Alright, I think this is the last stage before the boss. And then, yeah, I just like to get my guys in there in the center as much as possible and just do lots of direct damage. The boss of Mika, she has the short spread, so we do want to worry about that. But it's not too damaging on this early stage, so we can just go ahead. Okay, pretty good damage there from the dimensional blades. And then the way the dimensional blades hits, it's kind of a large hit area, even though you are just targeting one character. So there's a chance that it can hit the weak point of the boss. So that can be a good source of damage there. Okay, here is the boss, and then depending on my positioning here, I'll take on this stage in different orders. If all of my guys are on the left side, and they're all concentrated around the boss, I'll try to take the boss down before her strong short-range attacks. If my guys are not close around her, then I'll go ahead and I'll take out the little guys kind of around, and then I'll save the boss for last. Okay, pretty good. Alright, there's that short spread. And then she'll also have a kind of a white blast, so we want to stay away from that as well. Ooh, nice damage there. Yeah, the dimensional blades in most cases is going to be better as a... Oh, here's the strike shot here. Okay, pretty good damage. For only 20 turns on a drop monster, 1 million damage. Kind of 1 million guaranteed damage is really good. And that strike shot is non-elemental as well, so we can count on that damage being pretty consistent on any element. But yeah, as I was saying, the dimensional blades is mostly going to be useful for little guys, for mobs, not so much damage to the boss. Except for that rare case when you can get the bump combo into the boss's weak point. But I wouldn't count on that. And yeah, his attack is fairly high for a speed type, and then he does have the Slayers, so he can be a decent source of damage against bosses with the Slayers. But overall, I would say only so-so. And in case you were wondering, this version, the evolution version of Mika, is a Vivalith, not a Paladin, unfortunately. So that Slayer will not work there. Okay, so there we got 2 of the dimensional blades into the boss. None of the hits went into the weak point though, so we saw that it did only a decent damage. Okay, pretty good. Alright, we'll move on to the last stage. 58 seconds until the S rank clear. I don't think we'll get it. But we'll go ahead and use the second strike shot here. And of course not blocked by the laser barriers, so that's good. And yeah, pretty similar damage to last time, just about 1 million. Alrighty, Dimensional Blade going towards the Scorpion since it has the lowest hit points. Alright, very good. Taking down the robot and then getting into position to do a strong attack next round. And then here we'll see the Mech Slayer come into play. Okay, and then we will move into position towards the bottom, and then there we saw some of the bump combo go into the weak point. So it is possible, and judging by what I saw just there, the dimensional blades will go towards the nearest target, and then, or not the nearest target, the target with the lowest hit points. But it will go to the nearest point in between the boss and the Yamato Takeru. So that might be how the positioning works for that bump combo. Okay, and then yeah, we'll just finish him off with the strike shots, and that will do it. So yeah, this is a difficult quest, but we got it through it just fine with 2 of Yamato Takeru 0. He is useful. But I would say his priority for making the max luck of him is low. Alrighty, hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you again. Take care.